Unit 8, Part B, Trigonometry, Day 2, Homework Tutorial. Again, I'll work the odd problems with you all. You have to complete the evens on your own. We're looking for x. On number 1, x represents a side. So our reference angle in this one is 40 degrees. In relation to that angle, x is the opposite side, and 13 is the adjacent side. So because I have opposite and adjacent, I can use the tangent function. So tangent of 40 degrees is equal to x over 13. So again, as we demonstrated, take your tangent function or whatever trig function, put it all over 1. So we can now cross multiply. 1 times x is x equals 13 times tangent of 40 degrees. And again, to remind you, you do not have to have one of the school graphing calculators to complete this assignment. You can use any scientific calculator that has sine, cosine, and tangent on it. Just make sure you use it properly, and you might have to look at the manual to do so. So not having a school calculator, again, is not an excuse for not completing your homework. Alright, so on a graphing calculator, however, we can type this expression in completely in one step. Make sure it's in degree mode. Again, go to mode. There we have it. Or it should say DEG at the top of the screen on any other calculator. So I'm going to type 13 times, and I can use parentheses or I can use the multiplication sign, tangent of 40 degrees. And it says round to the nearest tenths, so this would be about 10.9. On number 3, again, x represents a side. My reference angle is 75. 35 is the opposite side, and x is your hypotenuse. So because I have opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to use sine. So sine of 75 degrees is equal to opposite, which is 35 over x. Again, put your trig ratio or trig function over 1 so you can cross multiply. 1 times 35 is 35 equal to x times sine 75. And then you got to divide both sides by sine 75. For it to cancel. So x equals 35 divided by sine 75. And now let's grab our calculator. Off of y equals 1, 35 at the top, over sine 75 at the bottom. It's about 36.2 once you round. On number 5, x is an angle. And according to x's location, 5 represents the opposite side, and 7 represents the hypotenuse. So since I have opposite and the hypotenuse, that means I would write a sine ratio. So this time I would write sine of x, since x is the angle, is equal to the opposite side, which is 5 over 7. And again, since we're looking for x, which is our angle, in order to get it by itself, the only thing you can do is to use sine inverse. So x is going to equal sine inverse of 5 over 7. Now we grab our calculator. You have to type second and then sine for the sine inverse. And then 5 divided by 7. And you would have about 45.6 degrees. Number 7, x is a side, yet again. So our reference angle is 37. X represents the opposite side. 15 represents the hypotenuse. So again, I would use the trig function. So, I'm sorry, sine function. So sine of 37 degrees is equal to opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 15. So put sine 37 over 1 and cross multiply. Some of y'all might be able to pick up on some of the patterns and based off of the setup and be able to jump right ahead to the next step. Others, it still might be too soon for that, which is perfectly fine. When I cross multiply, I would get x is equal to 15 times sine of 37. Now we grab our calculator. I don't want to tell you shortcuts just yet because some people get a little too anxious and forget why we do what we do. So 15 times sine of 37. It's about 9.0. Alrighty, number 9, x again is the side. My reference angle is 71. 38 represents the adjacent side. X represents the hypotenuse. So since I have adjacent and hypotenuse, I can write the cosine function. So the cosine of 71 is equal to adjacent, which is 38, over hypotenuse, which is x. Put cosine 71 over 1 and cross multiply. You would get 38 is equal to x times cosine 71. Divide both sides by cosine 71. So x is equal to 38 over cosine 71. And now we grab our calculator to approximate. Alpha y equals 138 at the top, cosine 71 at the bottom. You have about 116.7. last problem we'll work together is number 11. X is an angle again. In reference to x, we have the adjacent side, which is 4, and the hypotenuse, 9. So again, we can write a cosine function. So cosine of angle x is equal to adjacent, which is 4, over hypotenuse, which is 9. And again, if you're looking for the angle, you must use the inverse function. So that means x equals cosine inverse of 4 over 9. And now we grab our calculator. And we type second cosine 4 over 9. And we get about 63.6 degrees. Alrighty folks, this concludes our tutorial for today's lesson. Good luck on completing the rest.